We have an update on Chris Savoie. He is the American dad being held in Japan after an attempt to take his 2 children back from his ex-wife. In a jailhouse interview with CBS News, he talks about the dispute that brought him to Japan and landed him in serious trouble. For more than a week, Chris Savoie has been in this Japanese jail. CBS Tokyo producer Lucy Craft was able to interview him off camera.
He's in the detention center along with drug users and hardcore criminals. The lights are on all the time, so he does have trouble sleeping.
Savoie's ex-wife, Noriko, abducted their children, 8-year-old Isaac and 6-year-old Rebecca, this past summer and took them to Japan. Last week, Savoie grabbed the kids near their school and made a run for the U.S. consulate. But Japanese police arrested him. Shannon Higgins was there.
He kept saying, "What is going on here? What is going on? This can't be right. What legal basis do they have?"
This weekend, Savoie's supporters protested in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, back in Japan, our efforts to reach Chris Savoie's ex-wife were unsuccessful. Now he is waiting to see whether he will face trial or be sent home. CBS News producer Lucy Craft joins us this morning live from Tokyo. And here in the studio, I have with me Chris Savoie's wife, Amy. Good morning to you both, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me begin with you, Amy, because I know you have not seen or heard from your husband in more than a week. Lucy has, so I want you to just put to her any questions that she can answer for you.
Well, I was wondering how he was holding up. How did he look?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that a week in a Japanese jail has clearly taken a toll on your husband. He was disheveled. He looked very haggard. His hair was unwashed. He had a lot of stubble on his chin. I think he's struggling to keep his spirits up, both because the conditions in the jail are quite difficult, and also because he faces the very real prospect of a stiff prison sentence.
Any idea, Lucy, what a day in the life is like for Chris over there?
We weren't able to get very much detail. He wasn't allowed to talk about it, but he did say that he was very frightened because he's being housed with suspects in violent crime. Also, the lights are on all the time, so he says he doesn't sleep very well, and he could be stuck in this jail for another 2 weeks as prosecutors decide what to do with him.
Amy, were you prepared to hear that?
Well, that's really depressing to me, obviously. This is not a criminal matter. This is a family matter. And for years and years and years, Japan has been telling victims of parental abduction that parental abduction is not a crime. Scores and scores and scores of families have had to suffer through this same kind of heartbreak where a parent kidnaps the children to Japan and Japan protects those parents. And when the distraught families go over there to try to enforce some kind of visitation or some custody order where they were granted full custody or at least joint custody, Japan has turned them away and said, sorry, parental abduction is not a crime. So if parental abduction is not a crime, why is my husband in jail? This is a family problem. It is not a criminal problem.
Lucy, any indication that the Japanese government might look at it that way and go easier on Chris because they just don't want to get involved in a family matter?
Yes, we talked to his defense attorney for quite some time yesterday, and he said this is not really a concern of the State Department nor of the national Japanese government. He said it really is just a criminal case, how unfortunate as that may be, and that it is going to be handled as a criminal matter. However, the prosecution, he says, has to take into consideration that this is not a normal kidnapping case, and that perhaps some leniency will be shown because of that fact.
What is your hope, Amy? When do you think you'll see your husband again?
I hope he's going to be on a plane very soon.
Do you get any indication of when it might really happen?
I don't know. I can only hope.
When you spoke with us last week, you tearfully told us that you had kind of resigned yourself to maybe not seeing Isaac or Rebecca, the 2 kids involved in this, till they were teenagers or later. Is that still your fear?
Unfortunately, it may be the reality. From what I've seen and heard from so many families, Walter Benda, who spent 14 years trying to enforce even just one meaningful visitation with his children, he appealed it to the Japanese Supreme Court twice, and his children were taken at the ages of 4 and 6, and he has not seen them since.
Lucy, let me give you the last word in the last seconds. What about the kids? Do you know what might happen with them or where they are even?
The children?
Yeah.
You're talking about Isaac and Rebecca?
Yes, I am.
Yes. We visited, we managed to track down the parents' home where we believe Noriko and the two children were staying up until last Monday. There was no sign of them at all. And in fact, we approached both the mother of Noriko and her father at his barbershop today, this morning actually, and they just absolutely refused to talk to us at all. They told us to leave. So I'm sorry to say they're probably in hiding somewhere.
All right, Lucy Craft, thank you for answering our questions and especially Amy's. Amy, thanks for joining us as well.
Thank you.